You okay there, Ryan?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, welcome everyone
Welcome.
to the third ever episode of this podcast.
Yep.
As usual, we are your hosts, Joseph
And Ryan.
and Ryan. Why don't you start us off with the logging?
Logging? Oh, shoot. What is the day? As of now, it is Wednesday, June 24. 10:30 p.m. So it's pretty late in the evening.
Mhm.
We just had a fantastic grad event.
Yes. Speaking of which, let's talk about that. Let's because we also had a big grad event yesterday on Tuesday, but we made our podcast episode before, so we weren't able to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you think it went, man? Because nothing like what we experienced yesterday has ever occurred, at least in modern times. So what were your impressions of it?
What especially?
I don't know, just in general, like what did it meet up to your expectations?
I know you're talking about the grad drive-by or the leaving ceremony
The
stream?
leaving ceremony.
All
stream.
right.
Yeah.
So the leaving ceremony stream, I honestly prefer it that way. I prefer watching it online.
Oh.
Yeah, because in person you have to wait hours for you to get called up, right? But on the stream you can just click of a button, get to the parts you want to see, and yeah. So me and my family skipped like 80% of the stream. We didn't watch the entire thing, and it was pretty convenient that way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. That must be, if anything, a blessing in disguise for you.
How so?
Well, the fact that the overall environment, the atmosphere of having it online and being huddled around your family, not having to worry about waiting hours upon hours. I guess the fact that the in-person ceremony was taken away from us, you view almost as a good thing
Well,
to a certain degree?
Well, I feel like in my case, it's because I've already been to the leaving ceremony twice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
One for my sister, one for band, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm probably like kind of desensitized to it in a way where I don't actually need to go because I know what it's like, so I'm not missing out on anything. But for other people, I understand if it's an important event because, well, they've never experienced it. And as we've stated previously before, they've spent big portion of their life building up to this moment. Yeah. So I didn't watch the entire stream, but I bet there's a lot of people who did. And did you watch it all?
I didn't. No.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in your shoes for sure. I totally get where you're coming from. It was surreal for me. My parents actually took it so seriously. They invited all their family friends and
I bet so many people came.
yeah, a lot of
Korean
people came.
connections are crazy.
Yeah, that's
man.
true. Yeah.
New Year parties, Christmas parties, so many people come. It's actually insane. I don't even know some of them.
And we had a barbecue outside. It was so yeah, seriously, like my parents took it really, they went all out.
Damn. Wow.
And we didn't watch through the whole thing. So we set up the TV in my living room. We connected it with a laptop and we watched the streaming. And when it got to the part where it was listing off every single graduate, we just skipped straight to my name, and then we just paused it, and then we just started celebrating, and we didn't watch the rest. I mean, we watched the Empty Gowns music video.
Well, of course.
Yeah, so we can actually talk about it now.
Those of you who haven't watched it, what are you doing? Go watch it right
Oh no,
now.
yeah, I'll be uploading the music video
Yep.
onto my Instagram very soon. But yeah, no, it was a pretty interesting experience. Seeing ourselves on that screen, it started to dawn on me officially that we were graduating. It was a very disorienting feeling, and
Time flies.
oh yeah, no, for sure.
When you think about it, like look back in the past moments. Those, like, when you're present when you're present in there and you're actively thinking, it doesn't feel like time is passing that much. But then once you start looking back on moments that already happened, it feels like it happened in the blink of an eye. It feels like it never even happened in the first place, and the only proof you have of that happening are pictures and memories.
Yeah, for sure. It really put into perspective for me, and probably for every single other graduate out there, that time does in fact fly. And everyone here has probably experienced a moment where their parents would like enjoy it while it lasts, you know? And me especially, I didn't really take that seriously to begin with. I was like, no, I mean, come on here. Like, come on now, let's slow it down. Let's okay, like, okay, I might yeah, I mean, like, I might not, okay, like, it might fly by, but I don't really, but over the years, it's really, really started to seep in, you know? And this graduation is just one of many head turners. It's one of many eye openers in terms of, oh my goodness, we don't have nearly as much time as we think we do. So yeah, I felt both really relieved and happy, but at the same time also a bit
nostalgic, sad,
like somber. Yeah, that's the best way I could describe it. It was such a weird mixture of emotions. And the fact that we were around our relatives, right? Like, normally speaking, you'd be in the gym and you'd kind of be sharing the experience with everyone else. But in this case, you're sharing it with just the people you know, huddled around you. It was a definitely very, very new feeling because, like you said, I also attended the last 2 graduations. So I had a taste of what the atmosphere and the vibe is. And this is just, it was a total 180. I'm not sure if it was a total 180 in a particular good way or bad way. I have no idea, but it was definitely something that I'm gonna be remembering for a long, long, long time. So what did you do after? Oh yeah, no, we met up afterwards. Yeah, so the streaming itself was from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. If you watch the whole thing, of course, but I don't think everyone watched the entire thing.
No.
But yeah, afterwards, when all my relatives left and stuff, you and I just met up. Oh yeah, we met up with James as well, James Atano. And it's just pitch black at this point, and we just kind of hung out. And then went about our way and went to sleep, I'm presuming.
You know, it's a weird feeling because as we're getting older, our perception of time is getting, well, faster.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because, I mean, objectively speaking, time is just time, right? There's no point where it speeds up or slows down. That doesn't exist. But for our perspective, the way we perceive time, like you said, it typically, at least, speeds up as we grow older. And I think one of the biggest reasons why is because when we're younger, we're experiencing so many new things. There's so much excitement. And we're living more in the moment, you know? But I feel like as we grow older, we begin to lose that freshness, that new car smell. And time just starts to speed up. If anything, there's gonna be many aspects of our lives that are gonna, if anything, encourage us to think in a let's speed up the time way. Like, for example, working a 9-to-5 job. It's really hard experience for anyone to go through as far as going to 9 to 5. I mean, like, all of us do it at one point or another, sometimes for the rest of our lives. But I think one of the most frustrating things about it is you go, and despite ultimately speaking you wanting more time on this earth to experience things, you're, if anything, wanting time to go faster. This graduation is a milestone in that sense. I think from here, depending on the way we live, our perception of time is going to start going downhill.
And I think just age in general has a big part of that. Because when you're 6 years old, you've only lived 6 years, you've only experienced 6 years of time, and therefore 1 year is another year on top of that is 1/6 of your experienced life. Meanwhile, you're 18, I'm 17, so another year for us is 1/17, 1/18, and then it just the proportions just keep on getting smaller. If you're 32, then you're 1/32.
Yeah.
So that probably, I feel, has a big impact on how we perceive time, just age in general, and experience in general.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if we sound really exhausted and tired. It's because we are. We're half asleep practically right now because
sleep thoughts.
Well,
right
let's fill them in on even more context. Let's talk about. So we talked about yesterday the graduation. Oh, you know what? After the streaming, we came back to my place, right? And you guys stayed over till what, like 3 in the morning?
I think so.
Yesterday. Oh no, I guess that's technically today. So 3 in the morning today, and then we finally went our separate ways and slept. And I had the AP exam, bro.
Didn't even study.
I did
Should I
review.
pull an all-nighter and study, or should I just go to sleep?
I picked the sleep option.
Good.
No, like I did dabble here and there.
I did my finger.
Bro, the thing, so I had English and literature advanced placement at 11 a.m. and European history AP at 1 p.m. So, and I slept at around, I'm going to say like 4-ish. So I slept at 4, woke up at around 8:30, and then stayed in bed until around 9:30, and then finally regained consciousness, slumped over to my chair, opened up the computer, and by the time I opened it up and by the time I realized I was even alive, it was like 10:30, and you had to log on to start your exam 30 minutes before the time is scheduled for. So 10:30, I was like, oh my god, what is happening? I just logged on, and next thing I know, I was writing the exam.
Nice.
And no, I think I actually went pretty well though. I reached the word limit, like, no problem. And the topic luckily was very simple. It was like, it's basically a passage from prose, and it asked what correlations you could make between the theme and the literary elements that the author used to emphasize it. And oh yeah, and that's when I went to Mr. Kushlik right afterwards. So I drove home, talked to him for a bit, got last minute advice about the AP Euro History exam, came back home, did the exam, and then met up with you, got the water
You've been
guns at
talking about
Walmart.
your day for a full 10 minutes right now. Bro, you've been going in detail. Yeah, continue.
I just realized I'm just rambling at this point.
It's all good. Continue.
Should I?
Do whatever you want, man. Alright, okay, I'll start. I'll jump off.
Yeah.
Sorry. Alright, so after that, we had this I can't even talk. We had this grad drive-by. We brought water guns. We were fooling around, drove around, shot the water guns out the windows. Had a good time.
I shot my teacher with with one of the water guns.
Yeah, shot Mr. Kushlik. And then, was it Mr. Kushlik?
Yeah, it was Mr.
Yeah,
Kushlik.
Mr.
Yeah.
Kushlik.
I feel so bad.
And then we went up
afterwards.
to Burnaby Mountain, not that school, but the actual mountain, and then hung around for a bit, came down, ate Denny's, and then now we're here.
Yeah.
That is the day. So, the exhaustion should be pretty audible in our voices. Yeah.
Audible.
So, yeah.
I don't know why that just made me laugh.
Damn, sleep is a pretty essential part of life, eh?
Oh yeah.
What do you think will happen if someone doesn't sleep for like three nights straight?
3 nights straight?
Yeah. What do you think will happen to you?
Oh, me. That's a good question. That's a really good question, actually. I probably would feel like I'm asleep, right? I'm cognitively asleep, but physically speaking, I'm still slumbering around. So, wait, hold on. Maybe I already am in that state right now.
Maybe you're already there, bro. You've already reached that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Because the experience I'm comparing that question to is back when I worked at Costco. I mean, I guess it was recent, but when I worked at Costco for like 5 days consecutively, right? 3:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Eventually you reach a point where you're okay, you could say you're awake, but at the same time you could also sort of tell that you're in semi-dream mode, if that makes any sense.
So like a zombie.
Yeah, like it almost feels as though you're in a dream, but you're also self-aware of the fact that you're standing up and you're physically moving around. That's the best way I could put it. But I feel like I'd be like that, except 10 times more serious if I didn't sleep at all for 3 days straight.
Do you think a zombie apocalypse is possible?
Zombie apocalypse?
Zombie apocalypse. What is the first 3 things that you would grab?
Gosh.
Like, well, okay, what would you prioritize? A gun, medical equipment, or a vehicle?
I mean, so I can only pick one out of the 3?
One out of the 3.
Vehicle.
Vehicle?
Yeah, all the way. The first thing I do is, so let's say, assuming that I'm not able to get any supplies, right? I can only pick one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get in my car right away, drive to the nearest gas station, buy as many jerry cans as I possibly could muster, fill all of them up to the brim with gas, and then just bolt out of there.
And just bolt out of there?
Yeah,
where are you
just
gonna go?
Get out. I'm probably gonna go to Burning Mountain.
The actual mountain?
Yeah, the actual mountain itself, and then just chill there, because there's a couple parking spots. So just park, put it in gear, and just kind of sit there.
Damn.
And then occasionally going outside to take a piss or anything. And
And
then,
you get mauled by zombies while you're taking a piss.
but here's the thing, like even if I see a zombie, just all I have to do is pop back in the car.
Yeah.
And just drive away. That's it.
But then what if there's like hundreds, like swarming that your car? So like even if you do move, your tire's gonna get like caught in their guts and stuff, right?
Oh.
So then what are you gonna do then?
You know what? I won't fight against it. What I'll do is literally just put my car in park, turn off the engine, and just sit there patiently waiting.
Just put it in neutral.
No. Because if it's in a hill or something, then it could like potentially just start rolling down.
And then maybe potentially that way you can escape the zombies. Yeah. So like the zombies are like.
Oh, like the moment they start dispersing, that's when like because it's a new. Oh, I see.
And then you start rolling down, right? Because they're thinning.
Yeah.
And then you can be like, oh shoot.
Yeah. You start rolling down. You notice you're like, this is my chance. Put it into gear, put it into drive, and then boom, out of there.
Them out of there. Yeah, man.
Hey, but I gotta tell you something.
What's up?
If I am in that situation,
Yeah.
you know who I'm gonna pick up? You.
Oh, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna. The first thing I'll do is pull up my phone, give you a call, and be like, Ryan, get the fuck out of the house. I'm gonna pick you up.
You know what? All you're gonna hear, bro. You're gonna hear, oh, praise. That's all you're gonna hear, bro.
No, Ryan! Ryan!
We're like, oh, you guys are getting bit, bro. And we're like, no. Yeah.
It's like all hope is lost.
All hope is lost.
I'm alone.
Go get James, man.
Oh yeah. No, he's probably gone at that point. Everyone I know is probably gonna be gone.
Everyone you know. Yeah.
How about you? Like, what would you get? What like out of the three?
Gun, medical supplies, a vehicle.
Yeah, assuming you had a car. I mean, since I'm gonna be picking you up, I guess you could just worry about the other two.
Yeah. I feel like in this case, medical supplies will be useless because if you're bit, you're infected, right? You can't treat it.
Yeah.
Medical supplies will only be important for small cuts and other injuries caused by something that isn't zombie.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's super important because even a small cut can kill you. Like infections back in the day killed like millions. If you get just a small gash on your palm and you don't treat it, you can die.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So medical supplies will be very important, but at the same time, a weapon is also important in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But it all comes down to which of the two has more value, right? In this case, and I feel like it's a gun. Yeah. Because if you get bit, medical supplies won't help you, but you can prevent yourself from being bit in the first place if you have a firearm. Then maybe defend yourself somehow.
Mm.
That's assuming we have bullets. And if we run out of bullets, then we're screwed.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You go to Canadian Tire real quick. Pick up a
zombie
stash.
version of Mahmood, David.
Alright.
I see them standing. I'm like, yo, can you show me where the batteries are? He just turns around. He's like, "Rah!" Like, what the fuck?
Just,
But he's still half conscious though, so he tries to show me the way.
Jaws. Oh yeah. He's like that way. Aisle 4. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually incredibly sad. Wow.
But what kind of theoretically, if these zombies did not die by a gun, then I choose the medical kit.
Mm.
Yeah. If these zombies were fully unkillable, a medical kit. Right, but if I can kill them, get the gun.
Yeah.
Would you ever be immortal, Joseph?
Would I want to be immortal?
Yeah.
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 No question about it.
I thought immortality wasn't something that floated your boat.
No.
Then what happens if you had the chance to fully integrate yourself with, let's say, technology in order to become immortal? Would you do it?
No.
But you're becoming immortal.
Well, if I was given the chance of being immortal without any repercussions, such as being replaced as a cyborg, then all the way. Oh my gosh! If I had the chance to be immortal, 99% of all my worries and anxieties would immediately vanish.
Mm. But you can't die ever.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's like, you've probably watched Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah.
The film. It's an extremely good comparison to what we're discussing right now. It represents perfectly the effects of being immortal. The guy tried to intentionally kill himself so many times because of how miserable it was of living forever. And I'm sure it is. But he eventually reaches, like, as you experience the film, right? Like, initially it's extremely depressing knowing you're the only one that's living forever. I don't. It's a very big, overwhelming concept to grasp. But eventually, no matter how long it takes, assuming you're actually immortal, you begin to accept it, and you find peace within it. And the moment you do, I feel like you'll begin reaping all the benefits of being immortal. So ultimately speaking, no question about it. Yes, I want to be immortal.
But I feel like... Oh, yeah, continue.
Oh, sure, wait, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say that I feel like Groundhog Day isn't exactly a fair comparison because Groundhog's Day, in his case... What's the main character's name again?
Oh my goodness, I don't remember. It's at the tip of my tongue, though.
Well, some guy, the main character. His experience with immortality is that the reality he is in does not change at all, right? But
Yeah, the
meanwhile,
repetition.
if you're immortal in this world right now, then you'd stay the same, right? You'd stay the same, but the reality around you will change as
Right.
well.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Yeah.
For his world is stagnant, while ours will be completely changing all the time.
Yeah.
And if you're immortal in this case, and everybody else you know aren't, then you'll have to experience them aging and them dying before you. And you just watch civilizations rise and fall.
In
So-
my opinion, though, I mean, for some people, that's like no one can live with that, right? Like seeing, like making a really good friend and then watching them die.
Mhm.
For me, I feel like even if you're not immortal, you'll still experience that. You'll
Yeah.
still experience loss. You'll experience death. Of course, with others. However, the only difference is that you're simply living forever. So whether you're immortal or not, you're still gonna be experiencing it. You're still gonna be experiencing the pain. So if you're gonna be going through that anyways, why not just live forever while you're at it?
But then what's at the end of the road? What happens when
Right.
everything ends, right?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
say
yeah.
a meteor hits Earth, wipes out all life as you know it, but you're just there, sitting there.
Honestly, okay, well, like, I mean, if assuming the only way you can die is by physically like, for example, someone coming around and cutting your head off, like, then you die. But like, I'm assuming we're talking about immortality in terms
so
of.
you're practically invincible.
Oh, that I see. So not
Yeah.
only are you living forever, you're also invincible.
Yeah, so
Oh,
even if you get
okay.
sucked into a black hole, you won't die.
Interesting.
You fall
Wow.
to the sun, you will
Got
not
it.
die. You
Got
go to
it.
space,
Got
you
it.
will not die.
Right.
Yeah, so do you still desire that kind of immortality?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't actively desire it or like fantasize about it, but if God were to come down and go, "Hey, listen, Joseph, I gotta tell you something. I gotta tell you
Just
something.
real quick.
Just come here. Here."
Come into my arms, my child.
And
then bestow
his
you.
secretary just comes up. He's like,
You're the secretary.
"Hey,
Michael the Archangel.
sorry, Joseph. Joseph. Oh, sorry. Yeah, God is wanting you to talk to you. He's
You're
calling
like,
you to your
oh
office
shit,
now."
for real? No way. The big G?
Yeah. It's like, I haven't seen him in ages. Hey.
I haven't seen him since I was a soul, man.
The
No
secretary
way.
is like, yeah, sir, there's many people behind you. Can you please
You're
hurry this
holding up the line, man.
But yeah, no, if someone were to come up to me and say, "Hey, listen, you have the choice of being either immortal or not immortal," oh yeah, for sure. I'd definitely pick it. Yeah. What was I gonna say before though? I was gonna say something.
I don't know. I think I cut you off. We were discussing whether or not you could get your head cut off or something, right? Yeah.
No, it was before that.
Before that?
Oh, we were just talking about the fact that if I were to become immortal, all my worries would just wash away.
No, but that was at the beginning.
No, it was right after that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was in the beginning.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Okay then. Do you think there are? Well, okay, wait. I have another question. You have the chance of being immortal, but why do you reject?
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna talk about. Yeah,
Really?
like the idea behind being yeah.
Yeah.
So, being a cyborg, like, the thing is, if I was given the opportunity to live forever, but the method of doing so is downloading my consciousness onto a computer and then saving it forever. Let's say that was the method that was, I don't know, that became popular by the time we're about to die, and we have the ability to do so. You know what? I mean, the only other alternative is literally just dying. So why not? I mean,
So you would do it?
I probably would. I am against the implementation of humans in technology, and I mean in a literal way, like chips and like humans slowly becoming more and more like a robot. I'm against that idea.
Why
Obviously,
so?
there's certain uses for technology that are very beneficial. For example, losing a limb and replacing it with a robotic limb. Obviously, yeah, no, that's there's no question
Yeah,
about
that's
that. But just going out of your
beneficial,
way
but
to replace body parts because you want to become more like a robot, I'm again. I'm personally, for me, just for me, I'm not I don't support that. But yeah. So if like, let's say I'm healthy, right? I'm a healthy
fully
individual,
functioning
fully
individual.
functioning
Yeah.
being, and someone were to come to me and be like, hey, listen, yeah, we can allow you to live forever. And I tell them, okay, so what's the catch? And they say, well, you gotta replace 90% of your body with mechanical
Parts.
parts.
But then let's say
Then
those
I'd say no.
parts, though, let's say those parts mirror human counterparts, like almost exactly. So your arm looks like a regular human arm. If you like, when you touch it, it feels like a regular human arm. It's just that it doesn't deteriorate.
Okay, then if that's the
Would you
case,
take it?
then I tell them, okay, I really appreciate your offer. I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm not gonna accept it at this moment, but when my health starts failing or I start dying slowly of old age, I'll get back to you guys.
But why not take it? Oh, so wait, if you were dying, would you do it?
Yeah, yeah.
But then why not do it at that moment?
Because
Because you're gonna reach the dying point eventually, right?
no, I know, but I'd rather experience as much of life as possible still as a whole human being. Because if
But
I
what
decide to
defines
become
a
a
human
cyborg
being,
early
right?
on, I'm definitely gonna regret the fact that, you know what, I could have done it later. I could have done it when I was about to die, and it wouldn't have made a difference. Why did I decide to turn into a freaking machine so early on?
But then, so you define being a human being as being within our biological parts, right? So that's the only way
Well,
to be a
no, I
human
mean
being.
that has a very big role in it, but ultimately I think what makes us human is our uniqueness. And that it's an umbrella term. Like, you could talk about our personalities, our imperfections, our flaws, you know, whether it's biological or neurological or something deeply seated within us. Those are what makes us human. But the moment you become a cyborg, all that gets taken away immediately.
But
So, okay,
let's say you still have your brain, so you're still psychologically flawed. It's just that your body is undying.
well, your body, and this is a scientific fact, your body has an extremely big influence on who you are. And I mean that on a literal sense. Like, there's been instances in the past where a patient received the heart recipient of a suicide victim, like a heart transplant, and like a year or so later, the person killed themselves the exact same way the suicide victim did. I mean, obviously there's a lot of variables, like what if he just so happened to get to that state and just so happened to use the exact same technique to kill themselves. Okay, yeah, you could say that's a coincidence, but there's many documented cases of transplants occurring and people experiencing the transplantee, you know? And like, I personally don't think that our personalities and our uniqueness is just captured within our brain. I don't believe that. I mean, obviously our brain has a very big significant role in it, but ultimately speaking, from head to toe, everything has a role.
All right, here's this. Let's say there's a boat, right?
Mm.
You treasure the boat super dearly, and you take it out to sea. You go on an adventure. You sail the Atlantic. You go fishing. You go on an island, and you all go on many adventures, and then you come back.
Mm.
It's been a couple of months. You've been through a lot, so the boat is all beat up and battered, right? It needs new parts. So then you repair it. You take out old planks, you put new planks in.
Yeah, I know where you're getting at.
Yeah. And then you go out again and again and again, back and forth, until all the boat that you had in your first journey, all of its parts have been replaced by new parts. Is it still your treasured boat, or is it a different boat entirely?
It's a paradox. It's a very, very... It's, in fact, probably one of the most famous paradoxes out there, because there simply is no answer. There's no way of...
But then, if like you could answer this on your point of view on being a cyborg, if we replace all our first parts with new parts, and eventually we replace everything, and we just replace everything with new parts, just like the boat, until none of our old parts exist, are we still the same person?
Well, if you're talking about it on a purely biological level, in my opinion, no.
No.
Like, if you've replaced literally every cell in your body, like even your head, like, and you're basically a robot, and you're full on machine, then, well, I think that's something you can answer, is that you're basically not even a human at that point. You're not who you originally were, objectively.
So if you correlate that to the boat question, then you'd say the new boat is not the old boat.
Yes. No.
Yes.
The boat, if every single piece is replaced, right? Every single piece down to going back to the human example, down to the cell, then that thing that exists now isn't what it was originally.
So are you looking at the cyborg question in a logical sense?
Yeah.
Like you are the boat question? Okay, then how would you view it emotionally? Do you still view it the same way?
Well, it depends. There's a lot of because let's say our brain was the only thing that was kept from the original thing.
Yeah.
Well, then it's much more black and white. Or sorry, it's much more in the gray area, because there's still something that's significant to you that exists in that machine. So you can then sort of question, okay, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But if everything is replaced, right, then I personally don't think there's any question how that thing could still be what it originally was, since every single piece of it was replaced.
So do you believe he's not a human anymore?
No.
I see. Yeah, I think that's just... So in my point of view, I personally believe in the soul, right? That we have something in us that is beyond just these fleshy forms, right? So I feel like as long as we retain that soul, and even if we've replaced that... So I'm not saying soul in a necessary sense where it's just an ethereal object. It may just be... The soul may just be a concept talking about our identity. How we view ourselves, and how we've lived our lives, our memories, our identity, our experiences in life, just who we are in general. So I believe that even if we replace every single cell within our body with mechanical parts, if we still retain that identity, those memories, then it doesn't matter. I still believe that I'm a... Was it cyborg? Yeah, that cyborg, or just machine, is still a person, is still a human being.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do you believe that... Oh, actually, well, let me ask you this. What do you think happens when we die?
When you die?
Yeah.
Seeing it from a logical point of view, because, yeah, I revolve around both science and like emotional stuff, even though that doesn't make sense. Even though they conflict with each other, I like to... So if we're viewing it from a logical point of view, then I believe that after death it's just blank.
Lights out.
But I can't comprehend that, right? I can't imagine what that is like, so it's scary. So what I hope would happen is that there's an afterlife, or there's a reincarnation, or perhaps we wake up from a dream or something, right? So I'd like to believe in a concept of an afterlife, but thinking it from a logical point of view, the conclusion that I inevitably come to is that once we die, that is that. It's done.
All right.
How about you?
Obviously, no one knows definitively, right?
Yeah.
So for all we know, there might be a full-on intergalactic universe out there that we get transported. I don't know. It's a very, very open-ended question.
Some Inception kind of stuff.
Yeah, who knows? It's like the sky is the limit when it comes to these kinds of things, right? But for me, early on, I accepted that the most likely and the most probable outcome is going to be the fact that our consciousness is simply going to cease to exist. There's actually a philosophy. It's called Occam's razor. And what it states is that when we're faced with an extremely hard question to answer, the philosophy states that usually, the majority of the time, the simplest answer is the correct one. For example, alien life. We can speculate all we want. We can search and search and search, but there's, despite hundreds of years of searching, we still haven't reached any definitive evidence that there is in fact life, and therefore Occam's razor states that the simplest answer is usually the correct one. Therefore, perhaps there is no life.
So you don't believe in aliens?
Well, I mean, that's a whole topic for a whole other day. But talking about death, right? Mortality. Yeah. Directly referencing and looking at it in the perspective of that philosophy and also my own personal beliefs, I believe it's just going to be lights out.
Lights out.
And if anything, there's been many habitual mindsets that came out of that both helped me and didn't help me. We talked about this in the last podcast, like the fear of mortality and the fear of how little time we have. But at the same time, fear is a reminder, it's something that pushes you. Obviously, if there's, yeah, for sure. Like, obviously, if there's too much of it, then it definitely becomes a problem, which is something I face every day. There's just too much of it. But ultimately speaking, that fear, especially initially, helped me a lot in many, many ways. Accepting the fact that there is nothing on the other side, I think really helped me gain a perspective of how precious life really is and how little time we have, how much we have to experience things as they come and not take anything for granted. I need to go out of my way to improve myself and use the fact that I have been given all these opportunities, so it's helped me. Actually, it's really, it's allowed me to gain all these disciplines that has helped me to this day, but also at the same time promote fear and unhappiness because of the constant worrying and the constant, we talked about this last time. But yeah, that's why, in my opinion, so going back to your question, that's my final I guess answer, is that it's just lights out. And I've basically accepted it 120%, like no exception, that is going to be the case. And by the way, when I say that, I don't mean it in a way where all the other perspectives, like, oh, there's a heaven, there's an afterlife, I'm not saying I'm discounting those at all. If anything, like you said, I mean, if those did exist, if there was a heaven, like, I wouldn't mind it at all. And yeah, I don't actively dream of, okay, please let there be a heaven. I don't do that at all. But at the same time, I don't discount or judge or view people that believe those in negative ways whatsoever. The philosophies and the the disciplines, the types of mindsets that the Bible promotes is just it's the epitome of how to lead a joyful life. It's an instruction book on how to be happy. It's such a peaceful way to live. Haven't you noticed that, by the way? Like when you come across a Christian or someone that's religious, you just kind of see it in their eyes how truly joyful and peaceful they are. I don't know about you, but I don't know. That's just something I've been noticing. And it's really put into perspective for me. Gosh, like is living like this, you know, like accepting the most logical outcome, or at least attempting to, and just living this way, is this way better or is that way better? What is better? What is the most beneficial way to live?
Yeah.
So which way is it? You know, like which way is better?
I don't think there is a better way. I think both methods are a way of life that many people follow. And in those respective beliefs, each person can find their own, well, in this case, happiness, right? And atheists, they don't have to find joy in following the word of God, right? And they could follow their joys in science. They could follow their joys in many other things. And do you think that religious people find happiness in following God itself, or do you think it's just the morals in general?
I think it's a combination of both.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I was. Just at its core values, I just think that both methods, they work. People live like that, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with either ways. If you want to believe in God, and you want to be religious, and have a belief in something and you find joy in that, that's fine. If you want to be a realist and well, not necessarily a realist, but if you want to be an atheist, is there another way to describe an atheist? Non-religious?
I guess so.
Yeah, if you want to be non-religious, then that's your way of life. It's just you can't really judge a person's way of life. You can't really look at it and be like, that person, because of this, they are not happy, or that person, because of this, they are happy. It's a matter of perspective, and it's a subjective thing.
Yeah, no, like the only reason why I brought that up is because like the tendency, because for just as an example, obsessing over materialistic belongings, like that's something you don't really see that in Christians. Just as an example, you don't really see that, and the main reason being is religious people don't, like, they typically, and by the way, this is all subjective, I'm not saying this happens every time, but typically speaking, they generally try to reach joy from an internal source. That's one of the biggest differences between happiness and joy and pleasure. Pleasure is like it's based on materialistic values, right? It's based on something that's external, and therefore it's temporary.
Isn't religious based off external value? Isn't religious people's happiness based off external value? No,
I disagree. But
their ideals and way of life stems from an external factor, that of which for Christians.
No. Okay.
The Bible.
Right. I know what you mean. The Bible promotes.
By the way, we're not speaking for all religious people. This is just based off what we think.
They don't reach for happiness from materialism. And you can call the Bible materialism, but that's like, people don't, like, it's not like someone values their happiness on how many Bibles they have. Like, that's not but the Word, the Word of God, and the fact that the Bible encourages and promotes self-love and internal peace. That's why I'm describing religion as an internal source of joy, and typically speaking, of course this isn't every time, but typically speaking, people that are non-religious striving for joy or striving for happiness from a pleasure external source. So you could say that the millionaire next door is the happiest man on earth, but who knows, he might be internally the most miserable person because of how little they value peace within themselves, instead of devoting and basing all their value and self-worth off of external things. Religious people, typically speaking, don't focus on that whatsoever, one iota. Religious people value internal growth, right? The joy coming from an internal source. That's why I think that's what I'm seeing in those people's eyes, is the fact that they're truly in a peaceful state within themselves, and not short term. It's not something like a drug where you take it and you feel good for a moment and then it eventually goes away and the tolerance goes up. It's not like that. Joy doesn't have a tolerance. If you have joy, it'll last you forever. No matter, it doesn't matter if you lose your job or something, or like you go into debt and you become homeless. No matter what happens, the beauty about joy is that it's always there. And I'm almost certain that religious people have reached that point, you know? That reached that point of pure, and that's why God is viewed as this being that's within all of us. That's why that point is emphasized so much. It's trying to get people to understand the fact that God isn't this external thing that we devote and base our values and happiness off of. He's within you. He is inside you. And he made you exactly the way he envisioned. He made you exactly in his with his design, and you are exactly where you are supposed to be, when you are supposed to be, and how you are supposed to be. And it promotes that self-love within you, you know? It doesn't talk about materialistic belongings whatsoever. So, but then the thing about atheists though is that none of that, like, no one's there to sort of teach that. That's why so many atheists associate happiness with money or a beautiful wife or handsome husband or how many cars they have, or like their job title, or their career. Like, that's why atheists have the tendency to value their entire self-worth on those things, is because no one was there to teach them the fact that, hey, listen, your joy and your happiness shouldn't come from those external things, because those things can go away anytime. You can wake up tomorrow and your house could be on fire and you lose everything. What if you had invested your entire self-worth on that? You'd be gone. You cease to exist. But if you had found peace within yourself, it doesn't matter what happens outside of you. You're always you, and you will always love yourself. That's what religion promotes. That right there is what I respect most about religion.
But isn't that kind of blind joy type of ignorance?
That's kind of what I noticed to begin with. I mean, like, as time went along, I started realizing everything I just discussed and started appreciating it much more. But initially, that's what I saw it as, ignorance, and sort of turning a blind eye, you know, and being in denial, not accepting reality. I viewed it in those lenses, and I still kind of do now. But along with me viewing it in those types of ways, I also respect and actively try to practice those other things that I just talked about. Loving yourself and finding peace within yourself, and not valuing and not basing your self-worth on external things. Those are things that, even if you're not religious, you can still strive for it. That's why even if you're an atheist, you can still develop and hone in on the values and morals that religious people have. I mean, okay, like they may not become fully spiritually involved, but in terms of gaining those mindsets and those habits, I think that's very doable. And I think that's sort of what I've been trying to do, is embody those morals and those minds and all the beneficial things that come out of religion, but also at the same time not involving myself 100% spiritually.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, oh my goodness,
you rambled on for like a good chunk of the time.
That's actually, I feel bad. I didn't.
Well, we'll hear about mine. We'll hear about mine on the next episode.
No. Let's hear yours right now.
We are 1 hour in.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
Are you serious?
Yep.
How long did I talk for?
Like a good 20 minutes.
20 minutes? No.
Yes, sir.
Are you serious?
You talked for a long time.
I feel terrible right now. Well, okay, let's hear yours. Let's hear yours.
Fine, okay. Where do we leave off?
So, what's your, I guess, perspective of religion? Like, what is your stance?
Religion itself?
Yeah, like, are you religious?
Okay, well, I'm personally not religious. I don't have honestly, I don't know what I believe. When it comes down to it, my main belief is in science, and so you could say that I'm an atheist or a pagan. What's the difference between atheist and pagan again?
I'm actually not too sure.
Isn't atheist like denying the existence of God, and paganism like unsure?
Yeah.
Whether if I'm wrong, oh damn, that's Tori. That was just his dog barking. If paganism is being unsure, then I'm probably pagan. Because I can't prove that God does not exist, but I can't prove that he does exist as well, right?
Right.
So I'm at a crossroads.
I see.
Yeah, so people are like, when the argument is presented, because I believe in the Big Bang, and people, okay, where was I going with this? I guess I am more atheist then, because I believe in the Big Bang, but then people are like, how did the Big Bang start? It must have been a higher power. God, let's say, started the Big Bang. But then, what started before God, right? Where was I going with this? I'm so lost right now.
No, you're doing good, man. You're doing good.
Okay, let me just start over.
Take your time, man. Take your time.
Personally, for me, religion, like, I respect their foundations that they've built in the past, the moral tradition of being kind to each other, and overall the message that they present is good. It helped humanity grow and further develop the moral code, the ethics that we have. And I respect it for that. I do think that religion in the past was necessary for human advancement, for human evolution, or in this case, evolution, and I'm doing it with quotation marks. So, in that case, religion is good. But now here comes the modern times. For me, I think that right now, religion has had such a major influence in how we've lived our lives. And its morals and ethics are so deeply ingrained in our history that our parents, without even, if our parents aren't even religious, they still teach those religious teachings. They still teach us to be kind. They still teach us to have self-love. They still teach us to have self-love and stuff like that. And personally, because of this, I don't think that religious is really necessary anymore. Because it was definitely necessary in the past, because we killed each other without reservation. But now we are civilized. We have advanced to a point where we can make decisions on whether this is wrong or right without the Bible or without a specific thing telling us that it's wrong or right. So we've come to the point where we can make a decision on our own. And I think that faith in a higher power without even questioning it is only hindering progress that can be made. Let's say, because I'm a big supporter of science, so you don't like cyborg enhancement and stuff, right? But I think that those kinds of things are very beneficial to humankind. Like, it'll take us to the next level. It is it is a type of evolution that has not been seen before, and it has the potential to make it so that humans can do everything, right? And we could go to Mars, we could colonize it, we could go to a separate solar system, we could go to a separate galaxy, find new things, find new adventures as well. And but at this, there's such potential, there's so many possibilities in the future with these technologies, but at the same time, modern religion rejects those technologies. From what I have seen personally, modern religion rejects those technologies and say that they are unethical, that they are, well, well, for example, for one religion, the mark of the devil or something, right? Mark of the beast, I believe. I'm not too sure. But they just see it as bad. But that, because of that, it's just stifling what could be, right? What we can do. So for now, I believe that although religion was extremely necessary in the past, it is not necessary right now. I'm saying you can still believe in religion, but I don't think that we need it. If you get what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. So you're saying religion isn't something we require now?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that because I think the ultimate goal behind religion is to reach a sense of peace and joy. So, like, if you think about it, like, ultimately speaking, I think that's the biggest goal.
So that's just,
what you're saying right now is like that's the thing about religion, is that it's timeless, and no matter what era it occurs in, the motivation is the same, reaching that sense of peace and joy.
But each different religion has a different method of reaching that point, right?
Yeah.
Like Christianity, they say find it in God, in Jesus. Meanwhile, for other religions, they find it in other things. So, like, that concept of reaching that point of peace and joy is good. It is a good idea to pursue. But we already know that, right? We don't need religion to tell us that we need to pursue this path. And since different religions have different methods of reaching it, it's just contradicting each other, right? So I feel like, man, I'm so tired.
No, you're definitely doing good though. I really get what you're saying.
Yeah. To sum it up, because I feel like I've been going back and forth without making any sense. To sum it up, I think that religion was necessary in the past, but as of now, it is not, because it's so deeply ingrained, it's such a deep part of us that it's not really religion anymore. It's just become part of human nature in modern society. And yeah, I guess that's how I view it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm not saying if you are religious, I'm not saying that I don't like you, right? It's just I respect you. It's just I believe that I just have different opinions from you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, in my opinion, religion will always exist. Always, till the end of time.
Even when we span the galaxy?
Yeah, oh. Definitely. If anything, religion will probably be even more emphasized then. Religion is timeless. In my opinion, like, the word timeless, if you were to pull up the dictionary, right, and you looked at the definition, religion, I think, is the most timeless piece of culture to have ever existed. And the Bible being probably, in my opinion, one of the most ahead of its time, and I don't know, innovative,
it was
groundbreaking.
I
think the Bible was the original definition of all those terms.
It was very important.
And
that's for sure.
Because, like, the Bible, no matter how of an atheist you are, you can't deny the amount of truth and philosophies, mindsets, and disciplines the Bible encourages you to take a hold of, and how much it can help you. Even if you're an atheist, you cannot deny that. It's a simple fact that the Bible is very beneficial in those terms. Obviously, like, you don't have to necessarily believe in God and believe in a religion to reap the benefits, but the Bible, that's the reason why it's been so studied, and that's the reason why it's existed for this long, is because of how, I don't know, I guess the only word I could come up with is how timeless it is. And the same thing goes with religion just as a whole. It's so beneficial in so many ways, and I feel like it's always going to exist, and I'm happy that it's always going to exist. I'm not a religious person myself. Oh my god, I can't even. I'm not a religious person myself, but I sincerely hope that religion will always stick around, always, until the end of time. Yeah, I support it. I support it wholeheartedly, 100% of the way.
For me, it's just, it doesn't matter whether it stays or not. Now it comes down to it. Yeah, honestly, I may be contradicting myself here with the previous statement that I made. That's fine. Just tell me if I do. But I hope deep down that a higher power like God exists, someone I can entrust myself to, so I could just thrust myself into their arms when I die or something, right? But at the same time, when the logical part of my brain is saying that it is unlikely.
Yeah.
Right? The science has proven the fact that religion is probably yeah.
No, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, I think that's it, man.
Yeah. I'm almost half asleep right now. Actually, I probably am.
I'm lying down. It's so hard to focus.
Oh yeah. Because the setup we have here for the podcast, so I'm speaking to a microphone attached to my desk. So I'm sitting down on an office chair, but Ryan is laying down on my bed right now, holding a portable mic. So I don't even know how you're still awake right now. Wow, that in and of itself is an accomplishment. I'm not even joking.
Man. Oh yeah. And just a quick heads up. If we are wrong about religious facts, like if we stated something wrong and you're part of that religion and you know that it's wrong, then please feel free to correct us. Right? Because we are not very personally, I'm not very educated in this subject area. I'm making assumptions. All of these ideas that are coming out of my mouth are assumptions based on what I've heard. If you disagree with something, please say it. We are always open to conversation. That is what is happening here, and that is what will happen here.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're just two 17 and 18-year-old guys sitting down and talking.
Yeah.
And however way you might perceive that, it's up to you, but that's it. That's all there is to it. It's just two guys talking.
I feel like all the problems in the world could be solved if we just talked, man. All the major conflicts. If the two parties just talked to each other and tried to and understood each other's views, we could solve so many problems.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that next time? Yeah,
for sure.
Alright. Well, that concludes this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Go to bed.
We need to go to bed.
Yeah, we do. Go to bed, relax, sit back. Then again, thank you for listening to the Coffee and Cigarettes podcast. My name is Ryan.
My name is Joseph.
And we are out. Bye.
Bye.